What are the psychological habits of the most likable, charismatic, and charming people? To uncover the trends, we dove deep into research and studies of behavioral psychology. So if you want to transform from awkward and shy to charming everyone you meet, implement these tips, validated by countless studies and research. This is Mind Maps, and here are 6 habits of insanely likable people. 6. They have positive and negative empathy. People who possess positive empathy don't get jealous, they get excited. They are thrilled when plus someone else decides to quit their job and travel in South America for 6 months. Plus someone else gets their dream promotion or hired at their dream company. Plus someone else gets their business acquired for $100 million. Negative empathy is the ability to comfort others when they're down. People who possess this trait will help someone when their family member gets diagnosed with cancer. Support someone when they get fired from their dream company. Comfort someone when they break up with their significant other of 6 years. Positive and negative empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and genuinely feel what they are feeling, either good or bad. 5. They are humble. This quote sums it up perfectly. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. People who are genuinely enjoyable to be around are humble, not arrogant. They don't wave awards in people's faces. They don't name drop for the sake of sounding important. They don't toot their own horns. They don't have an aura of "I am the coolest person in the world." Of course, it's healthy to be confident and sustain a high self-esteem. But there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. And the difference is humility. 4. They are vulnerable. Vulnerability is uncertainty. It's putting yourself out there to risk embarrassment or judgment. That definition can become foggy, so here are a few examples. Vulnerability is approaching a stranger in a coffee shop, asking them on a date. Vulnerability is giving a presentation to 195 people, even when you're scared shitless of public speaking. Vulnerability is stating your conflicting opinion, when 9 out of 10 people in a room all believe the same thing. Brené Brown, a social psychologist with 10 years of experience of studying vulnerability, gave one of the most watched TED Talks of all time at over 20 million views. Let's be clear, being vulnerable isn't easy. It's one of the most emotionally challenging hurdles one can face, overcoming the fear of being judged or criticized. Yet incredibly likable people aren't afraid to open up. They aren't begging for approval from others, so they have no desire to come off as a perfectionist. Furthermore, they realize that those who do appear as perfect may actually be less likable. When someone appears perfect, we distance ourselves from them. When they appear flawed, we're attracted to them. This psychological phenomena is known as the pratfall effect. 3. They avoid social narcissism. Guess what the favorite topic of conversation is for a social narcissist? Themselves. They want to talk about their stories, their problems, their successes, their complaints, their family, their friends. 45 minutes later, it's time to split ways and they haven't once asked about the other person's past, present, or future. Instead of rambling about how amazing or terrible their lives are, likable people ask questions. They dive deep into the minds of the person they're talking to. They ask questions that will make the other person feel good, or ask themselves questions. They ask open-ended questions. They ask why. They show genuine interest. 2. They are generous and altruistic. According to Adam Grant, the youngest tenured and highest-rated professor at Wharton School of Business, there are 3 types of people. 1. The taker. 2. The matcher. 3. The giver. The taker is an egoist. They tend to get more than they give. They believe the world is a competitive, dog-eat-dog world. As a result, they put their needs before everyone else. This strategy works for short-term gain, but it's nearly impossible to sustain. The matcher is someone who seeks balance between giving and taking. They seek fairness and equality. If they put too much into a relationship, without getting anything in return, they'll eventually give up. They believe in even exchanges and trading favors. The giver is altruistic. It's a rare breed of human who doesn't look for anything in return. Whereas takers are focused on receiving all of time and matchers are focused on receiving at least some of the time. Givers don't even think about it. It's incredible how far you'll go by being generous and altruistic, putting everyone else's needs before your own. 1. They reciprocate praise and take blame. A good leader is a person who takes a little more than his share of the blame and a little less than his share of the credit. When a likable person is praised for their work, they typically have a response like this: "Thank you so much. However, I'd like to emphasize that this was a team effort. I played only one small role in hitting this goal. Jen, Sam, Mike, and Kelsey, you were all crucial to making this happen. And we wouldn't have done it without you." In other words, they give credit where credit is due. When they're recognized for a success, they shift the praise toward everyone else. They give praise and empower people without expecting anything in return. Conversely, when shit hits the fan, they aren't afraid to take the blame. Here at Mind Maps we make sure that you know basic mapping of human mind, so you may wanna subscribe us. Thank you so much for watching.